Hello and welcome to Stream Talks, a podcast brought to you by Rakuten TV Enterprise, where we're here to talk about all things TV. We're here to break down the world behind your TV screens, understanding how it works, looking at content owners to advertisers, and actually talking to the people who are driving the change for this industry. And so that brings me to our first guest, Cédric. How are you, Cédric? How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, I think.
Yeah. Thank you for coming and joining us on the podcast today. So I think we should begin by starting about telling us about the story about Rakuten. How did it come about and how did we get to where we are today?
So everything started 16 years ago in 2010 when 𝘲𝗵𝗴, the previous name of Rakuten TV, was launched. At that time, it was launched with the intuition that streaming will be the future of TV. It started in Spain with a transactional service, what we call 𝘲𝗵𝗽𝗁, allowing the users to buy or rent movies in Spain. And then very quickly, the company realized that it was a pan-European market, so they started to expand this service in many geos. And to grow this business across Europe, we've partnered with TV manufacturers. So that was a very important part of our strategy, is to have a branded Rakuten TV button on almost all remote control from Samsung, LG, Hisense, etc., which allowed us to reach 42 countries. Then in the story of Rakuten, in 2020, we were the first platform launching also free content with ads, whether on demand, it's what we call AVOD, but also channels. We have today more than 500 channels in Europe. So the idea during this journey is always adapting our model to the evolution of consumption of content.
And I think that's really interesting what you said about the fact that it's grown from the TVOD business and then more and more has incorporated advertising. How do you feel about and how do you predict, albeit, the future of kind of advertising within the streaming services?
Clearly, the free content with ads, so whether it is AVOD or FAST, is the most growing part of our business. We don't see it as a replacement of our transactional business, but complementary to this business. And why it's growing so much? Because I think it benefits to all stakeholders. The viewers are very happy because they can watch free content, very qualitative content coming from major studios and local studios for free with ads. There is a phenomenon in Europe called subscription fatigue, where people realize that they pay too many streaming subscriptions and that they don't have enough time to watch all the content. That's the reason why the free content with ads is performing very well. So that's a win for the viewers. It's a win also for the advertisers, because we did a survey recently showing that 40% of the people who are watching at least AVOD content once a week do not watch traditional TV anymore. So if the advertisers want to access this population, they need to advertise yes or yes on this kind of content. And also the advertising is much more targeted on CTV rather than traditional TV, because we have more data to share with the advertisers. So that's allowed them to have a more targeted advertising. And also many surveys show that the advertising is better perceived by the viewers in connected TV rather than traditional TV, because it's more relevant to them. So it's also a win for the advertiser. And it's a win also for the platform like us, because AVOD and FAST allow us to reach scale, which is very important. So thanks to this now a wide value proposition with TVOD, AVOD, and FAST, we are able to reach 150 million households in Europe, and more than 40 million users are accessing our content every month.
Those are some really impressive numbers, I think, especially talking about, it's really interesting that you said the difference between being able to kind of measure and track the viewers and the viewership from linear TV to connected TV is something very, very interesting and obviously very valuable for advertisers, you know, having demographic information, age, even household kind of level data is something that's super valuable. So now, obviously, we understand that for advertisers, this is obviously very interesting, but Rakuten TV through Enterprise actually also works with content owners and TV operators as well. Can you maybe explain a little bit about this kind of dynamic and how this has kind of come about?
Here, what is important to understand is the rationale of this Rakuten TV Enterprise, which is our B2B arm, and where this concept comes from. From the beginning, all our value proposition is done in-house with our own resources. That means that the technology is our technology. The app available on all TV devices had been developed by our engineers. The channels are built in-house also. The editorial part of the channel to aggregate the content is done in-house, but also all the tools to schedule the channel, to program the channel, we are using internal tools. The connection also to third-party platform has been developed in-house. So all the technology is ours. The monetization of our inventory also is done with our own sales team. So last year, we decided to offer this expertise as a service to other clients, not only to use it for us, but also for other clients, whether these clients be content owners, TV manufacturers, telco operators. So we have a wide range of services within Rakuten TV Enterprise that is offered to this kind of company. Some of them are just interested in content, others in content and ad monetization. So we are very flexible, and our proposition is always tailor-made, and we always adapt our proposition to our clients.
I think that's really interesting. It's kind of a one-stop shop for kind of all TV needs, post-production, essentially, you could maybe say. And so with that, how do you think that the company itself is adapting to this changing industry? You mentioned, more viewership is going online these days, and we can expect that maybe in the future the industry will continue to evolve. What do you think that means for content owners and TV operators, and actually people like ourselves?
So clearly, from the beginning, as I said, we've adapted our strategy to the evolution of the market. We try to anticipate the evolution of the market. That's the reason why we were the first platform launching AVOD and FAST in 2020. So every day now, we try also to anticipate what will be the future of streaming and of the behavior of our users. And to do so, we like the partnership approach. So we have many interaction with different clients to understand their needs. And you were mentioning TV manufacturers or also telco operators. We've done many deals with telco operators because TV service, video on demand and streaming is quite important for them to increase the engagement of their users, to increase their RPU also, so the revenue per user, to reduce churn. So it's quite important in their business, but at the same time, this is not their core business. Their core business is telecommunication. It's important, but it's not their core business. So partnering with a company like us makes total sense for them because they outsource this service to us. So we started 4 years ago with Orange in Spain, where we brought our content to them. We have many other partnerships with other telcos where we not only bring our content, but also our technology. With some telcos, we're also monetizing their inventory. So it's really, we are trying to adapt our value proposition to evolution of the market. And clearly, we realize that the initial bet on streaming will be the future of TV is a reality today.
Absolutely, absolutely agreed. And I think that's really exciting, all of the different types of partnerships and different scopes of partnerships. But let's take it back to the content now. And I wanted to ask you, what is your favorite film?
My favorite film is Dead Poets Society with Robin Williams.
That is definitely a classic. But now, what is your real favorite film?
So my real secret favorite film is a French movie called Mes meilleurs copains. And I think that French people, it will ring a bell to French people.
That's amazing. Is there a particular reason why there's a difference between Dead Poets Society and your favorite French film?
My favorite French film is a very funny, iconic movies, and I've watched it probably 25 times. I'm not very proud of this movie, but still, it's important to have one reference that we can always watch.
Absolutely. And to finalize our session today, what is one movie quote that lives in your head rent-free?
So I need to come back to my favorite film, which is Dead Poets Society.
Of course.
And I don't remember exactly the quote, and I think it was something like, no matter what anybody tells you, words and ideas can change the world.
Oh, that's
It's our
beautiful.
mission also at Rakuten TV.
Absolutely. I think that's a really wonderful quote. And with that, Cédric, thank you so much for coming, and have a great rest of your day. So
Thank you, likewise.
thank
Bye.
you. That's Cédric, everybody. Thank you, viewers and listeners, for watching, and stay tuned for the next episode of Stream Talks.